I don't do this often, but in this case, I'm going to make an exception. We're going to do a game preview, and that's going to be happening tomorrow afternoon. And I'm going to be previewing the matchup between the Miami Hurricanes at Florida Gators in Gainesville, Florida. And that's going to be happening tomorrow. So, the last few seasons with the Florida Gators has been mediocre because they had problems in recent years regarding the coaching, regarding the players, but also the same sort of case with the Miami Hurricanes. Except with the Miami Hurricanes, they had pretty high expectations. Now, with the Miami Hurricanes, this was going to be a long-term kind of rebuild. Mario Cristobal came in 2022. He picked up some really good players from certain high schools. The 4-star and the 5-stars too. They were cranking up, and then they got some players with the 2023 class that they got in 2022. Moral of the point of the story is this is a coach that can really recruit, but the coaching has been pretty stale because clock management, the consistency, and not executing properly. Florida Gators, though, kind of the same thing. Bill Napier, who is the head coach of the Florida Gators, also kind of go through the similar problems. He took the head coach job in 2021, and his first season was with them in 2022, and Florida Gators had been mediocre. No, I'm sorry, they were kind of mediocre. They had some games that were tough, and they won. And they are capable of winning good games. They're capable. The Florida Gators are a capable team to produce some really big wins. And then there's big games that they couldn't able to do. So they were not able to do so in quite some time. And granted, they're in the SEC, a really big powerhouse conference, because they got Georgia, Alabama, just to name the few, and also Tennessee. Florida Gators is in a really tough conference too, but they're going through some issues too. With that being said, they still start off week 1 against the Hurricanes and the Gators. And that's going to be happening in North Florida, in Gainesville, which is in Florida, Gators, University of Florida. I think that's what it is. They're known as the Swamp. They are known as the Swamp. When we look at the matchup history, first game ever between those two teams was back in October 15th, 1938. And the Hurricanes had that privilege of winning that game, 19-7. Florida had the Hurricanes' number since then. They were a rivalry. They were a vicious rivalry, almost as bad as nowadays Florida State. But Florida Gators had their number for quite some time, and they had a 3-game winning streak after that. Hurricanes finally win in a 12-0 shutout. Although Florida kind of shut them out a couple times now. And then there was a stretch in the 80s, late 80s, where starting from the late 80s, the Hurricanes had the winning streak against the Florida Gators, including the Nokia Sugar Bowl against the Florida Gators in 2001. They won that game 37-20 under Butch Davis, and their head coach was Steve Spurrier. That was the legendary Florida Gators coach. So with that being said, this was a really good team, and the Hurricanes keep beating the Gators. They were the number one, and probably the last time they were number one team in the nation, beating a number 6 Gators team, number 6. And they blew them out 41-16 at that time. 2003, 38-33, really great game. But we know who was part of that team was Devin Hester. And then after that, in Atlanta, Georgia, where it was a Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and the Hurricanes beat them 27-10. So the Hurricanes win that bowl game. And then finally, the Florida Gators finally beat the Hurricanes in pretty big victory for them, 26-3 in 2008. That was in Gainesville. September 7th, 2013, Hurricanes beat the Gators. And our most recent matchup was actually in Orlando, where the Hurricanes almost beating the Gators, but ultimately fall just a bit short against the Gators 24-20. And that was the last time the Hurricanes beat the Gators. And that was the last time those two teams played each other. Finally, it goes up to tomorrow. In terms of all-time series, it's pretty close. Pretty close. Miami leads all-time series against the Florida Gators, 29-27 Hurricanes. Even this time frame, Gators, they were a phenomenal team in late 2000s. Tim Tebow. So they had that right at the bragging rights. And they're also an SEC school. Anytime we beat SEC school, especially with very long history, it's always going to be a massive win. And tomorrow, the Hurricanes have a chance to do so. And it starts tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. on ABC. If you have ESPN Plus like I do, you can use ESPN Plus as well. Hurricanes are 19 in the nation. Florida Gators are not ranked so far as of right now. They have the Florida Gators favored by 2.5. So Florida Gators is a slight favorite to win this game, and rightfully so. This is a college town, a really good college town in University of Florida. In the Swamp, it's going to be in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. That stadium is no joke. Those guys have a hardcore fan base. Any sport. Recently, it's basketball. They've been turning up. They're really good, and they always have a pretty good baseball team. I think their last baseball World Series win was back in 2017. I think. So they have a good sports program as well. But in terms of football, it's especially in the state of Florida, it's always a huge thing. And if we want to have that bragging rights, we got to do so in Gainesville. And the Hurricanes have a chance to drain the swamp. That's what the Hurricanes fans are saying. Drain the swamp and set the alligators free. But anyway, there you go. That's the preview for this one. The preview of this game. It's going to be a wildly different situation. Cam Ward is going to be his first game with the Hurricanes. So it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this one. In terms of who is their quarterback, Graham Mertz is going to enter his sixth season. He has a tough task ahead of him in this game tomorrow as well. So Cam Ward versus Graham Mertz. So yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let's go Canes. It's going to be a pretty classic game. The Hurricanes have a chance to make a statement. And then, even when we don't win, the Hurricanes still have a pretty fair reason non-conference schedule. Like I already talked about in the season preview, they got Florida A&M, Ball State, and South Florida, the Bulls of Tampa. And then the ACC schedule from this point forward. Nervous as heck. But tomorrow should be a fun one. So anyway, there you go. That's going to do it for this video. If you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content because Miami TVG has your back. And when you do, you'll be right there with you for your team that you deserve. This is Miami TVG. So, folks, good night.